Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. This is week 7. Penetrate Clan Wars. So there's literally 1 week left. I am Bigfoot and we're back with our missing in action last week Highland Wolf there, buddy. How's it going?
Hello. How you doing, man? You doing good?
Man. Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely epic, and we're back here. You know, I've been off for 2 weeks, but now we're back into the action, starting off in Miramar, as always, for what will be now, I believe, are we on week 8 now for the Clan Wars?
This is week 7, yeah.
Oh, week 7. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but, you know, week 7, we're coming to the end, as it is, of Season 3 now, the final couple of weeks, so it'll be interesting to see how the scoreboard plays out. You mentioned going into the start of last week, obviously, we had those top 4 teams looking like they could be the contenders, and then a 100-point dip between the 4th and 5th position. But looking at the end of last week, right, take me a little bit through about what happened last week, especially for those who didn't get to see it.
Yeah, well, last week the leaderboard looked like Sparta on top, Team Incognito, then AMZ Lions. So that was the top 3 last week, but then this week it's switched around to Team Incognito on top, Institute in 2nd, and Sparta in 3rd with AMZ Lions in 4th. So Institute jumped forward from 4th place to 2nd, Incognito jumped to the 1st place, and Sparta got pushed down to 3rd.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see, particularly, I think, as well, right, how Institute play out. Institute are obviously the new team for Penetrate here going into Season 3, and I think they definitely defied expectations, right? They've managed to put themselves now in 2nd position, only measly 8 points behind 1st and Team Incognito. And also keep in mind one of these top players here, Osmeskis, drawn for the top kills right now at 43.
Yeah, the frag leaderboard is looking pretty interesting as well. That's had a lot of movement in it. Just a couple weeks ago, I think, yeah, it was just, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago, War Machine jumped forward, but Osmeskis there with the tied 1st place, 43 kills each, and then Rebel and Rasa in 3rd and 4th place. Rasa held down the frag leaderboard for most of this season, but recently getting pushed down a couple places.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see how, as we mentioned, they do play out. They are playing a little bit more safe, which is a safe bet generally for strategy moving into this first game. Miramar, of course, is that game that can go to anyone's favor depending on how the map really plays out. With the zone here, as it has gone into a more central zone to begin with on game number 1, looking a little bit kinder than what we might have seen some other days, which will be what these teams are happy about. But I tell you what we want to look at right now is potentially this skirmish between the side of Pen Gunners and also the side of Incognito down on the south of Valdemar. That could be an interesting one, especially considering Incognito are the leaders of this Clan Wars going into tonight.
Yeah, this could be easy 4 points for Incognito moving in. D's Nuts is already down. Vish is already down. I don't think there's much the Gunners can do about this. They're just handing points over to our leaderboard toppers, and it looks like Incognito are off to a great start this week, and maybe going to be able to hold down that 1st place till the end of the season next week.
Yeah, they have eliminated already. These Nuts will go down, and unfortunately doesn't have the stature to really, with his team there to help to survive. This could be the 2nd one to fall as well. Getting crowded around by 4 of these members already down, and Keith is down to half health. Menace going to be the only one healthy leaving this area of Minesta. Valdemar will be then moving up towards the north side, where they will be able to pick up a little bit of room here moving into the rest of the game. Particularly look around the room here, there's not much of that happening around Los Leones. Potentially we could see an interesting fight break out around the western side, potentially, if the side of Invasion do move closer in and pins it on to the side of Hard Shift here, who have that advantage right now versus them. They are 2-1 split here. Trent is away from the compound, which could have a detrimental effect on them moving through his first game.
It looks like only the best have wiped out most of the elves, with Lawaz being the last one remaining, trying to hold down the 5 stack against a push. It keeps on moving further and further up. Maybe you're going to have to yeah, completely retreat into the roof right now. They try and camp out that roof peak, but with all of them coming at once, it's going to be pretty tricky. And there it goes, killed on the reload after the first little fainted peek, and only the best had wiped out all of the elves.
Unfortunately, not going to be Elves Night here in game number 1, but only the best one of these newer teams, I think, to the league, really proving himself here as early on. But we'll have to see if they can continue to prove that moving through the rest of these games. As you mentioned, they do have a high ground there potentially around Los Leones, especially if the zone shifts around Los Leones itself. They could have a great advantage versus some of the teams coming into the area to spot them out early on. But look around half the end of the pattern. The fighting just doesn't stop now, as it will be ZPX going round the flank side of Dream Team.
Willow down by Fincale, so that is already a fight popping off to quite a lot of knocks on either side. There's Ant-Man and Willow down. Oh, DT Wondery knocking out a lot of them. It is not looking good. Willow down here. Lobby Boy not close enough to get the rev just yet, but trying to make it in.
Yeah, and we do see that Willow does have a little bit of a dip, does have potentially vision on the side of Dream Team. Keep in mind that Arnox for the side of Dream Team also, so it will provide time for Lobby Boy to get towards his teammate to make this now a 2 versus 3 situation with Dream Team still revived now. Ollie will be low health, but will pick up those medkits, will put himself back up, and Willow also will be revived. So this fight could still continue here. We see Dream Team making a little bit of an aggressive move, moving towards a 1-1 flank here with Fincale and Wondery. Now going to be Fincale, that front line to scout out exactly where ZPX will be going inside the small couple of buildings.
Fincale pushing forward to the rock. Wondery and Ole just trying to heal up a little bit more before moving in. Fincale pushing pretty hard, so actually a chance to pick Fincale off by themselves now. But here come the other DT players. Lobby Boy spraying down, doing some good damage to Wondery, and actually does take down Wondery there as a nade from Willow bounces off the building and comes back out. Could have been a really good knock if that just went through the window, but Willow actually knocks Fincale too, straight through the window, and ZPX are bouncing back. Ole is the last one standing now for Dream Team. They overextended to a really open spot to Lobby Boy's roof camp and got taken advantage of.
Yeah, excellent revive there from Lobby Boy to get back onto Willow, to get the positioning, the advantage versus Dream Team. Fincale was only that front line, and they got picked off in the back line instead, was the target by ZPX, and they've done excellent work so far. Now making it a 1 versus 2 situation. Ollie had been revived in that fight, which will keep them so far in this game, but it doesn't look like it will be for much longer. Ollie will have to crawl away slowly as ZPX hunts him down through that smoke.
Yeah, and the smoke's about to disappear, so Ollie's only got the contours of the land now. As Willow and Lobby Boy make a pretty aggressive push straight forward. I think they're going to catch up straight away, and this will be 4 kills for ZPX, but they do only have 2 players left to try and take them forward. Oh, actually knocks Willow, so that's 1 knock, but now reloading, and Lobby Boy gets the finish.
Yeah, do not want to take the chances there, and especially Small. They did separate. They went from 2 different angles, making it very difficult for Dream Team in this first game. They will be eliminated in 12th position. 11 teams are remaining here early on as we are only approaching the 8-minute mark, but still fighting has been happening all around the map, despite a couple of less teams in these games tonight. And I expect that to continue, especially as we move into the later stages of this league, right? Because this is where we're going to start to see these teams make these all-out plays to try boost themselves up on the leaderboard.
ZPX now healing up, and there's quite a lot of teams down south, but there's no one really super close together yet. AMZ have moved into San Martin, not too far away from ZPX, and it could be an interesting fight if they clash, but chances are they'll maybe just avoid each other on their way into zone without noticing each other. Although it does look like ZPX are moving back west, maybe going to catch a sight of AMZ. We'll have to have a little watch here. It is the closest 2 teams together, so maybe we will stick with Lobby Boy and Willow and see what they get up to. Then AMZ not too far away, and maybe ZPX will actually pin them on their exit from San Martin.
Yeah, could be interesting to see how AMZ play this, but I think AMZ, they are a little bit further away, right? They are on the opposite side of that smaller compound around half the end of the baton, which will mean that ZPX, if they just choose to go down that roadside and have the cover of also Picado Hill, right, they will be able to escape that 2 versus 4 scenario. And I think that is what they want to be doing, just to get themselves a little bit closer into the center of the zone. Keep in mind that around the center of this zone is La Bendita Hill, in Meteor site, which hasn't been taken by any team, but particularly note that Invasion have moved closer towards that area of the map, and he has secured some high ground. So we could see teams moving in, and he could make that move, especially if the zone centers around where it is just now.
Still quite a few teams that landed in Los Leones just hanging around there for now. Penetrate, game over, have made their way out. They're actually maybe hunting drops right now. I've seen them pick up one drop. Maybe they're going to go get some more. As Mr. Green still got a UMP and level 2 armor. They might be stocking up on good weapons, and this could be Game Over's redemption for quite an awkward season at times. They were in the top 10 at one point, but then just had some really annoying starts. And they're starting to bounce back a little bit. Maybe they can get a good win tonight and come back, at least finish in the top 10.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be not about finishing in the top of the leaderboard, but just about getting those pity points, if we do say so ourselves here, Bigfoot, about getting themselves on top. As you know, keep in mind, this is the original squad here for the Clan Wars, moving into this Season 3 and towards the end of the Season 3 weeks now in these final sets of games. But keep in mind that Invasion also, who were split, did have that vision on La Bandida Hill. This could cost them. As we mentioned, Hardshift moving in around them. They have gone either side, but I think barely Invasion have dodged out the vision from Hardshift, and they will instead just set up a little bit ahead of them. And I think this will be now the call for Invasion to regroup, especially considering with Hardshift also you have the side of Faith Killers on this hill.
It could be an interesting long-range battle right now between Hardshift and Invasion. They've opened up fire quite early on, didn't actually land any bullets, and now Hardshift are getting to work with their defensive tactics with this, maybe even making a counter-attack. Sway Nirvana pushes out to the side a little bit and does headshot Invasion, Chinese name #1, down instantly in exactly the first shot they sent off.
But it is now great the fact that Dreamer and Trent have moved up. And keep in mind Trent's position here. Trent is trying to look for a flank, trying to look for that long-range pick onto the side of Hardshift, but Hardshift have been looking dominant in these recent weeks. I've been casting it at least from the side of Miramar, and they have consistently been putting themselves in the top of the leaderboard, finishing in these final fights for Miramar as well. So they will know how to position in this map. They will know how to get into these dips and how to get these perfect angles they need to, particularly onto the side of Trent. If Trent falls on his backline with the side of Nirvana flanking right now, that is Invasion done.
Yeah, Hardman's made a good push up towards the next little dip in the terrain. Going to be shooting out over the top of that, but not quite close enough to confirm these kills. So maybe going to try and get a knock before making the next push forward, but they are closer if they do need to do so. And it's going to be still a medium range fight for now. But maybe when they get a knock on either side, we might see a bit of a push.
Yeah, and exactly. As we mentioned, Trent, albeit and rightly so, will be now moving into the rest of the team, providing our support. I think they have caught out Nirvana, who they assume, and rightly so, will be split away from the rest of the Hardshift squad. So that could potentially be that 2v1 that they're looking for to get early on these picks onto Hardshift to deny their aggression that they're looking to try come out with. They're looking for these picks before they go in with the rest of the squad. And it will be Spawn Hardman and Sponge potentially a little bit far away from this fight. I would like to see them a little bit closer in to try really pressure the side of Invasion from multiple angles. I think Nirvana has the right shot here.
Gonna send. I never actually sent the link into the Discord. Just send that in now if anyone's not with us, but they normally know where we are. Same place every single week. Welcome back, everyone. Hi, Loz. And hello, Simat. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. Anyone else, let us know if you're here. Tell us who you're rooting for. How you doing?
Yeah, this fight will continue on. But take a look at the map right now while we wait for these teams to really dish out the damage. Eventually, we do have Incognito, and keep in mind only the best behind them around this hill. And the side of La Bandita and north of Los Leones, so it could come in for that third party against Invasion, could prove their downfall. And around the other side of the map, keep in mind, is still Picado Hill in play here. The side of ZPX are risking to try control with AMZ behind them. It could be that upset and then take control of the game from there. If it does shift towards the western side, it's still going to be up to where this zone potentially shifts in phase 3. And that with the zone going to be shifting being down in about the next minute. We will then see after that Blue Sun shifts all the way in where these final zones will be appearing in this first game.
Sway Nirvana's made a bit of a flank around the left. The rest of Hardshift aren't that close, but they could do it getting a bit closer. I don't know if Invasion knows Sway Nirvana. Oh, they do, yeah. They're sending nades down this way. Trying to nade off that hay bale. Might be possible for Nirvana to get a knock on Invasion Squigglies, though. The nade, beautiful nade, comes flying over and gets that knock. Overextended to the max. That's going to be an easy finish, I think. More nades coming out, but Spartan 4PF still flying around, ready to try and get this revive off, but Tren is coming down for the finish. It should be a pretty simple, easy finish.
And this is where, right, you now take advantage of Hardshift. You take advantage of the fact that Nirvana is down. You can assume that, yes, Spartan there is going to try to be the one to revive them and keep that full squad going. They don't want to make it a 3-on-3 situation. And if they can provide this revive, it will put them in good stead, especially considering it now finally Hardshift are making these shifts over towards the side of Invasion Esports to be that aggressive team that they needed to be at the beginning of this skirmish. But it is the fact that Invasion control this compound. They have the barricades of these walls. They have the buildings to hide inside of. And it is this open uphill battle that Hardshift are trying to fight, which puts them in the moment this disadvantage.
Yeah, Invasion Esports really didn't do a good enough job of taking advantage of that knock. They could have bursted it. They could have used the knock to hunt down Spartan, but instead they just actually let Spartan get the rev, and it's back to 4v3. And without them moving from that compound, could go on like this for a little bit longer. Would be good to see a hard shift push and into the compound. Maybe hopefully get a knock or just crash the back of it and rush them. But we'll just see how this plays out.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see finally which team will prevail. I think it will require a zone shift here into phase 3 to really determine which team will be the aggressor in this skirmish. As we mentioned, keep in mind, we do have obviously is a PX named MZ. We're still on a standstill right now. MZ haven't climbed up to Prado Hill, so haven't had this fight versus PX and Willow and Lobby Boy currently on the edge, looking over the rest of these teams moving into the center of the zone. But also keep in mind, Graveyard is being controlled by the other squad here. Sparta is now in control of that hillside, which could be a real pain in the back for the side of the second place team, Team Incognito, and behind them, also Pen at Game Over.
Nirvana gets another headshot, though, on the Chinese name. Does make some good momentum. I'm not sure what Sponge is doing all the way over there. Maybe going for a really, really long separate angle, but it was actually useful in the end as the spray down from many meters away does actually bring Invasion down to 2 players. So will the rest of the team be taken out by a hard shift push? Or is it going to still continue like this a little bit longer?
It is interesting to wonder why the side of Invasion, they thought they could be that aggressive versus the full squad of Hardship, considering they had the ability to have the blockades there, to have the cover in their compound, and of course they have lost. They have had one of their team confirmed down, and that does unfortunately as a result give up the positioning they had in that compound, and they have to and hope right now that we have a way back into this zone, as particularly that zone just moves away from them and in favor of Hardship now inside where Invasion just were in this compound themselves. And Invasion on the edge of this zone, if it can continue to get lucky for them and it does shift back down towards La Bendita, they will be in strong control for the end of this game.
We see maybe Institute heading towards Game Over heading towards Institute possibly. Up in the top right corner where we see an airdrop, and it does look like there's already a fight. Yeah, it is Institute versus Game Over as Game Over drive past. Institute have taken the high ground rocks.
Institute with this high ground advantage, but keep in mind Institute are a little bit split. You see Mr. Green, you see E-Town from the flank side with DBs and Mumbles on the other side. They're going to find out Tarzan, potentially also find out Benji on this one side of the mountaintop, but E-Town will be confirmed and Mr. Green 1v1. This is going to be vital for the side of Institute as they do find a second knock up here. Mr. Green will fall down, and with Griff on the high ground, they will now be able to re-control this fight, and they will be able to take control. And there's a third knock up onto Devious. Mumble's the only one alive, and it's not looking good.
They tried to get away there and cut their losses, but in doing so, they lost another player. Griff maybe teasing with the idea of jumping down from that rock. Maybe could have just dealt with the full damage and tried to finish Mumbles off, but now Mumbles runs away. Sauron going around the corner. Devious easily finished off. Easy free kills there for Incognito, but there was one knock to Tarzan that could have done some damage. It just wasn't able to really build up into any serious momentum in that engagement, and now Mumbles hiding behind a small rock. Maybe just wants to get out of here alive and get some more placement points, but Benji and Sauron are running around the mountain. Griff is on top. Tarzan might be going around the other side, and it might all be over for Mumbles too.
This is where you pray that they don't find you, Mumbles, unless you find some God-sent here double grenade onto Sauron and Benji, but they're splitting up Tarzan from the other side, and it does look like curtains for 10 game over. They will be spotted out. They will be flushed out here. There will be pen game over in 11th position. That zone now centralizing around the road here between Minas Generalis and into Graveyard and Junkyard. So it will be an interesting zone considering that the road has cut around the center of it, and you still have the side of Labendita in play here. You have fights happening inside Graveyard as AMZ lose one of their members to the other opposing here. Sparta. And in the south side, keep in mind these skirmishes on the flank of the zone. Teams moving around here. ZPX making an interesting northern rotation here around Junkyard, but that has already been gatekept. ZPX here, Willow and Lobby Boy, that will not be the place you want to be going into because Penn Institute are already here. They just wiped out one squad. They could look to do the second here. Willow and Lobby Boy, they are taking a bit more cautious approach, but it will be almost impossible. Here comes Tarzan looking for the first. This is risky, but does find one, and can he find a second? Lobby Boy will be the one next to fall. Tarzan 1 versus 1. Can he find a Lobby Boy looking to try survive? But a grenade potentially, as you know, will be a Molotov, will go down and won't find him just yet. A grenade would finish him off, though.
Yeah, Tarzan's running down. Willow's maybe not going to stand up in time here as Tarzan comes rushing down the hill. There is that overwatch from Griff that maybe could have done more, but the angles might not have been quite right. And there goes Lobby Boy as well. ZPX taken off the map at the end there by Institute in 10th place, though, so they did good considering they had that early wipe. And then we also have Gunners being taken down on the south side by Hardshift. We got only the best fighting with GC, and then we got Sparta and AMZ, the only players in zone right now. As Invasion start to knock through Incognito, it looks like Vidmer is down by Invasion Esports there. As Guard and Bodacious Nosmericus need to make some sort of move here. This is our leaderboard team, the top of the leaderboard. They don't want to lose their positioning, so they probably just cut their losses and let Vidmer bleed out as they make their way in a wide rotation round a zone. Invasion Esports getting one more kill there, but Incognito making it to zone safely, hopefully.
And this is exactly the right decision, right? Because this zone is a hard shift west. In Invasion, they don't want to fight this either. With Incognito, they're both going to look to try get into zone. It's going to be tricky, but whoever gets that positioning, which you see Incognito are rushing to do, will have that advantage inside the next phase. And you see, although they lost one here, Bigfoot, they will actually have the advantage because there's a road. There's open land now between Invasion and Incognito, which buys them that advantage. Also, the high ground advantage moving in. But keep in mind also Penn Institute have this issue versus the side of Sparta moving in as well. On the flank side though, AMZ, they have looked cool as a cucumber here on the flank of this zone, looking around the graveyard section of this phase. And keep in mind they could still be flanked though by the side of GC and also Hardshift to get back inside of this game.
Well, Sparta not just trying to get back inside of the game, but trying to get back inside the tournament. Push from first place down to third. They're going to want to do their best, and with less players turning up for the last couple of weeks, it's sometimes maybe a bit easier to make it to the final 5, but that doesn't mean it's any easier to make it to the final 1. Maybe easier to make it to the final circles, but those last zones are still filled with some of the best teams trying to get on top of this tournament. You've got Institute and Incognito. You've got Sparta themselves and AMZ Lions all trying to wrestle for this top position. It's all actually in the last 2 weeks possible for any of these 4 top teams to take first place.
And the fighting will really happen around this hillside on the Graveyard Hill and also around the south eastern end of this zone, with Hardshift also moving into Invasion. That could be a rematch. Invasion thought they escaped them for one time only, but a second time they're going to come in and look to try finish them off, but Zone will chew through them. Phase 4 now, with only 2 of the members of the side of Hardshift making it inside so far. Invasion, they could take advantage of this.
AMZ have had a knock on Jojo, but they look like they're doing pretty good so far, and Zone's really helped them out. They've got this, see where that smoke is? That's like an amazing watchtower point where they can see nearly all of the last zone. They could maybe take 2-2 split on each mountaintop there, and they can see so much. Could be really good for them, but then the zone again might shift down into this open space. But 7 teams remaining right now. Looks like all our top squads have managed to make it to the last zone as well. We do have Institute, we do have AMZ, we do have Incognito, and we got Sparta. But out of those teams, Institute and Sparta are the only ones with a full squad.
Yeah, Institute here, they still have a full squad as well, so they're looking pretty strong, but they have been very silent in this game, so they're going to be looking for his kills, because they need to get back into the first spot and take down Incognito in the leader position right now, and it will do so as he look to try hunt down Sparta. An aggressive rotation in is what they needed, but Sauron's on the backside. This could cost them a 3 versus 4 situation.
We have AMZ, Animal Lions, moving up to one of those peaks I was talking about, and Institute moving up to the other, and then Sparta still inside the warehouse. This could be a chance for Sparta to take advantage of the third party between these two, but now it looks like they've let their location be known, and Institute are aware this is a 2-way fight, and may or may not choose to engage, or maybe choose to focus on just one team as the grenades start raining down blind on each other. No one quite landing one just yet. Penetrate Benji still spraying down on AMZ Lions, but Sparta themselves not doing heaps to flank this situation. Maybe rotating around could be really strong, but they're also possibly playing tentatively because there is still 7 teams remaining as Jojo goes down from actually Hardshift, who've pulled up at another compound right nearby. So this is a many directions fight with a lot of different teams. There's 5 different teams right here, and of course 2 more outside of zone as Invasion Esports, still only a duo, make their way in.
Here come more. Another team here. Invasion got crop right into the home of side of Institute here. They go straight past them. They say, no thank you, dear sirs. We're going to move in to try to find our own spot, but it's already taken. Invasion, they take a late move in rotation into the game, and we are barely in the circle right now. Trend will be finished off, though, and hunted down by Benji. Benji with a double, taking 2 more kills to Institute, up to 8 kills already as he now look aggressively to the top of this hillside to try take down side of Sparta here. Sparta, they have to be careful as well. If they step outside here, they could be taken out, as you've already seen by Hardshift and also AMZ.
Well, they just got wicked 2 knocks on and 2 finishes there on GC there on the edge of the zone, holding them down. But Beichen made it into zone all right, but they just has been taken down themselves. Hardshift have lost 1 player down, but still all standing. So this is actually going to be a really intense last circle between our strongest teams here. Look at this. It is literally an art gallery of the strongest teams that have taken part in this league as Benji hits down Matas. We have Institute bullying AMZ right now, but what about Sparta? The silent killers still inside this compound. Looks like AMZ Lions have actually managed to get the zone.